Hello and welcome to the Artist Couple's very first video interview feature of the month. If you don't already know, I'm Topher Mack and this is Sarah Sensman, and together we are the Artist Couple.
May's feature of the month is Becca Borelli. She is a local Austin artist who is most well known for her Austin coloring book and her hand-rendered type. We're about to go down to her home studio to ask her some questions about her artistic process and her work.
We hope you enjoy, and please feel free to leave comments below.
So what do you love most about Austin?
Oh, geez.
I know, that's a big one.
Isn't that a big one? I don't know if it's so hard for me to answer that question because it's so intangible.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking to someone at West yesterday, the studio tour, about that, and he was describing him and his wife were driving through on the way to New Orleans from where they were living in New Mexico or something, and he said it was like a feeling he had that he just suddenly, like, they stopped for the night and spent the night because it just felt so good here.
Nice.
Yeah, and I could relate to that feeling.
Good vibes.
Yeah, like I relax a little when I get back to Austin.
Nice.
But I also, it's a really creative city. So for artists to be here, yeah,
it's the best place.
It's the best place.
For sure.
Everybody's helping each other. There was a guy that I was talking to about that because he just moved here from New York, and he said, "Yeah,
way different.
It's so different." And the networking, he said, is even different. People are all trying to start their own small thing here, so everyone wants to help everyone. Mm-hmm. So word of mouth is much different here than in New York.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that's been my experience starting a small business here.
Yeah. We were told that when we came here, and people were telling us, oh, like, you know, word of mouth is huge, and everyone was going to talk, and that's like your biggest like thing, you know, is just like try and get into everyone's conversation. And I didn't really believe it because I was like, man, it's growing so fast and so many people are moving here. And then we got here and I was like, that's true.
It's still a small town, kind of.
It is. And everyone was like, oh, it still has the small town feel. And I was like, how?
No.
But no, it does. That's crazy.
Totally.
So describe what you love to do, your work, your art. If you could describe it, I don't know, in a sentence or a word, how would you?
Oh, man. Actually, so I've been perseverating on doing stickers that are energy over image.
Cool.
I think I've always loved like the swirling and the like organic shapes and stuff. Mm-hmm. But somebody saw my work like 3 or 4 years ago and said, I feel like you're drawing all of the invisible stuff between things.
Mm-hmm. The energies.
Mm-hmm. And it's so hippie, but yeah, that's what I'm doing.
No, I totally feel like that too. The first time, it was kind of like wind or something. And then like, I don't know, I kept looking at your stuff and then I was like, no, it's kind of just like the energy in the space. That's very cool.
Yeah. Probably, in a nutshell, that's what's going on.
Nice. So what inspires you most? I mean, definitely Austin and the environment, but is there any specific artist or specific things that inspire you?
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, in Austin, as far as artists go, are you familiar with Sophie Roach? I haven't even met her, and if she, like...
I don't think so.
But I talk about her. I've talked about her in other interviews too, because she does really graphic sort of doodling types of work. And I first saw her stuff just in a coffee shop like 5 or 6 years ago, and it was so beautiful that I thought, oh man, this is so similar to what I love to do, and she's showing. So I'm gonna try it, you know. Mm-hmm. And we're pretty different in our ways of like drawing, but she's pretty prolific and she's doing murals all over and and for pretty big corporate clients and stuff too. So
cool.
Yeah, she's cool.
I'll have to look into that.
I don't know. For me, I don't have a ton of external inspiration when I sit down. It's usually more of a meditative process for me, like just to feel better. I have to do it every day, which is kind of cool because baked into that is sort of this protection around my process then, where I don't have to feel inspired because
you don't have to force it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have the discipline to work every day because I get so much out of just like doing it instead of having to like have this really cool idea first.
That's what it should be, you know? Yeah. So yeah, that kind of relates to my next question about like, do you ever get artist block, or do you ever get in a time where you're like, you have to finish something, or, you really want to start something, but like you just don't feel inspired?
Definitely with client work I can, but it's just because it's so different working for other people than for yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel for artists who experience artist block with their own work, because that would be treacherous, I feel like. But yeah, I usually associate any type of block with me just burning the candle too much at both ends. I've never had a problem like freeing up my creative juices if I like up the self-care a little bit.
That definitely helps.
And I've also learned that certain types of clients, like if I have any type of artist block, sometimes it's an indication that I'm working with a type of client that's not a good fit. Yeah, and so that I've learned to mediate some of that just by like knowing which types of clients are a good fit, which has been good. Yeah,
that's good to know. Yeah, I'm still trying to work on that. You learn a lot from the clients that don't work out.
Trial and error. Yeah.
So what is your favorite piece you've ever created?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I know.
So I think it's interesting because a lot of artists will just, no matter how much they love a piece of work, eventually they get better, and so their old stuff starts to look old. But one of the pieces that hasn't happened for me is it's not even one of my illustrations. It's one of the chalkboards I did, which is downtown at Roosevelt Room. I don't know if you ever had a drink there, but it's a cocktail bar on 5th Street, and they got in touch with me right after I left sign painting at Trader Joe's, and it was the first really large sign I did. It was actually a cocktail menu, and I think it was about 20 feet long.
Wow. All on chalk?
It was all paint marker.
Oh, okay.
But on chalkboard.
Yeah.
And it was cool. And every time I see that thing, I'm still surprised I did it. So that's the first one that comes to mind. But I also like a lot of the drawings that I did. Like any of the drawings that I did from kind of like a Zen space or a meditative space tend to look better to me, and they age better over time. Things that I do for clients that are based on like a concrete idea they had, they're a little more forced. They still look good, but I feel like they age more.
They get old.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about being an artist, and then what's your favorite thing about being a business owner? And it could be the same answer, but it could be different.
Oh, these are such good questions. So one of my favorite things about being an artist, I was just talking with someone about this, is there's an idea that a lot of people who, in my field, art education, like that taught art, that you learn there's a philosophy that sort of art isn't always just an object, it's a quality of anything. So that's where the whole idea that art can be anything comes from, but it doesn't mean it's anything. I like that about being an artist, that so much of being an artist applies to every area of my life. I don't know. I guess I just feel very fortunate that like I get to like make money from doing what I was wired to do. I don't know if that's like a very simplistic answer, but I feel like I was just wired to be an artist, and for a long time I kind of bought into the idea that I would never be able to make money doing that. So in some ways, then it leads to why I love being a business owner.
Right, yeah.
Which is that I feel like in some ways I sort of bucked the idea a little bit, like that I like beat the misconception that people will struggle. And maybe it's because I, got a degree in education. In a lot of ways, being a public school teacher is like being a business owner. So a lot of the learning curves that I would have had starting the small business and trying to get paid for my art, I learned those lessons when I was teaching, which was good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't this big struggle that I hear about all the time. And so I guess in some ways that's what makes me feel most fortunate.
Yeah,
That's like
that is fortunate.
Yeah, it's like
a lot of artists struggle, you know.
They do. And I also like ran into some really cool advice from that guy I was telling you about. Don't quit your day job. So I kept my day job for a really long time. And it was a little hard to tell my parents that I was going to go back to waiting tables when I was 33.
Yeah.
I had a master's and it felt a little weird, but I got a great job in Austin with a really good restaurant. And it was so nice to pay my bills with that, because then as I was taking clients and figuring out what my voice was and figuring out what kind of art business I wanted, I didn't have the pressure of paying bills.
Yeah.
And it was so
super nice.
Yeah.
Nothing puts a damper on like what you love to do when you like absolutely have to do it, or else you can't pay for stuff.
I don't know where the myth comes from that like people are like, I just quit my job and I just had to do it and I jumped off the cliff and it worked. Like I just could never have done that. I would have been panicking the whole way and screwed everything up. So yeah.
We kind of did that, but
did you? I love that.
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
But you know, we worked and
made it work.
Yeah, we definitely are making it work.
Do you have any? I know it's like this is not supposed to be me asking you questions.
Oh,
but
go
like,
ahead.
Do you have any like thoughts about why it's been working for you guys to like jump off the?
Because we really wanted it, and because we really didn't want to get a job with a company that we didn't feel like fit, and like we knew we wanted to move from Wisconsin, and we just also knew that we wanted to do our own thing, and I don't know, it just felt right doing it, and it felt like, well, either this is going to happen or we should really think of a plan B. And like
I like
it happened.
I love that you say like that it felt right, because I feel like artists in general have this sort of, have you ever seen, there's like Elizabeth Gilbert did a TED Talk on creative genius? You would love it. I'm sorry.
I love TED Talks, but
I'm tangenting.
I don't know if I have seen that one.
She talks about how the Greeks and Romans before the Enlightenment thought that artistic ideas didn't come from people, they came through people.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of cool. And so listening to... Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
And so there was this idea that you weren't a genius, you had a genius. Like the genius was like a spiritual sort of like source, I guess.
Okay.
And I liked that because I feel like people that listen to that feeling are listening to something else maybe. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't going to work for me, but I love that it worked for you. You know?
Yeah. It depends on your personality type though too, because like some people really need a plan and they really need to be like comfortable and safe and feel safe, whereas like I feel like we're more of like we enjoy the risk taking and like we enjoy the excitement that like, well, like we might not be, you know, where we are right now in like 3 months, who knows. But like we like that adventure, whereas some people are like, I need to know if this is gonna, you know, work out in a year or whatever. So that helped.
Yeah.
That helped a lot. If we were like the opposite, we wouldn't probably be doing this. We'd probably be working, you know, some job that we don't like.
Yeah, which is a lot of people.
Hopefully not, but yeah.
Teamwork too. We can talk about the teamwork.
The teamwork, yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work for real. I don't think we could have either done this without each other, because, well, moving to a new place where you don't know anyone is scary. So that was like really awesome that we could do that together. And then starting a business by yourself is scary. So like to have each other to be like, okay, like I'll try to learn about this and you try to learn about this, and then we'll like come together and hopefully make something work out of it. And that was huge. That was a huge help.
No. Yeah. And that makes me think I really should give credit to Jason, because that's a huge part of it too. He doesn't actually help me with my physical business.
Mentally though.
But mentally he does.
Yeah, definitely.
And when I was trying to get the coloring book ready, I had a lot of what ifs, you know? Mm-hmm. And he said, so if you totally fail, I'll help you. And I never had that before. And I've never actually had to use him as a financial safety net, but the knowledge that I could have was huge. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's worked out with us, because like when I'm doing really good and I have a lot of jobs, you know, maybe he's not, and so like he can help with, you know, the stuff that you need to keep up with, like making sure your website's on top of it, and like all your social media, and then like, you know, when he's super busy and I don't have a lot of jobs, it usually works out like that.
It's amazing.
I don't know how it's happened like that, but like we've never at the same time not had any jobs. It's either one person who's really busy or the other person's really busy or both kind of steady.
That's awesome.
So that's been, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's helped.
It has helped, I'm sure.
Okay, so kind of tying in with that, what's the biggest struggle you've had to face so far?
That's like the one question I instantly have an answer for. So in some ways I feel like this is something that's really positive. I've never had a hard time with anything I've tried, and the problem for me is having boundaries from too much awesome. So like,
It's not a bad problem.
it isn't if you have good boundaries, but I don't have great boundaries, and so what ends up happening is I, especially in a small business, I found myself just giving so much to too many things.
Yeah,
And,
I can feel you.
Can you feel it? Yeah, and I want a business class on that, because I keep running into stuff online or like people offering services for small business owners about how to grow business. I've never had that problem. Like, I need help protecting me from the big business, because otherwise I just won't sleep and I won't see my friends and I won't shower.
It's so easy, you know?
Yeah.
There's so many ideas and so many things to do and like never enough time.
Yeah, so that's been my biggest struggle, but it's also kind of cool to have that problem.
That's a great struggle.
It's a great struggle.
That's the best struggle you could ever have.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so and Jason helps a lot with that because he's very good at that kind of thing, my partner. So, yeah.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
So what advice would you give someone who's trying to make a career out of their work?
So for me, it's always been to have a day job, but I think talking to y'all, just listening to your intuition is a huge part of it. Because for me, I really absorbed the message when I was young I think that's part of like maybe just industrial style schooling is like we teach kids to listen to other people, and so then when you get older it's really hard to listen to your own intuition, and there's so much information in you to like help you do it in just the perfect way. I don't know if that's a little bit of a cluster the way I'm describing it, but I have learned that getting quiet is probably the best thing, because I always kind of intuitively know what to do. And I mean, even just my own art style, I didn't intuitively listen to that until my 30s, because when I was younger, I was educated that photorealistic drawing was the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you teach art? You know, like that's a big thing, because everyone's different and everyone needs to find their own way, or else, you know, they're not gonna be able to.
No, it's totally. No, I think you're right, and I don't know. I think that's changing a little bit as far as like helping kids, but I don't feel like people really get to explore their own voice until after school.
Yeah. Or even then, there's so much pressure to get a job right away and listen to your boss and listen to that company, and like, it's hard to like take the time to listen to yourself.
Yeah, it is.
But it's so necessary.
It's so necessary. And so for people that are younger, I feel like feeling comfortable to do that in your 20s is super important, because I felt a lot of pressure to get a full-time job in my 20s.
Yeah, and so did we, but we were like,
no, it's good, right? I did that when I was 29. I finally got the courage to leave, and I like kind of experienced some of the like finding myself in my early 30s. I'm glad I didn't have any kids or anything, so it was really easy for me to do that. But yeah.
Definitely. So when you were younger, did you think you would be where you are now? And like, did you have a dream of being something else besides an artist? Or were you always like, I want to be an artist?
I did want to be an artist. And you know, it's weird because as a kid, I didn't really ever fantasize about like what I wanted to be when I grew up. In fact, I have a little memory book that my kindergarten teacher made me saying I wanted to be a fireman, because everyone in my class wanted to be a fireman. Like I always just absorbed other people's messages, but I never really had any thoughts about. That's such a good question. I never really thought about it as a kid.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah,
you left it a blank slate. You were like, whatever goes on, goes on.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. But it's funny because when you're a kid, some of the random stuff that you think, I think, ends up coming true. I don't know. I used to think when I was in grocery stores with my mom as a little girl that I could do a better job painting signs. I never would have thought that I would have ended up actually being a sign painter, but I did, you know? So I think that you have some wisdom as a kid that you don't realize.
Yeah. Even after I, knew I wanted to be an artist, I would look at murals and be like, that's awesome. But, I never thought I would actually, be the person doing it and, want to do that. Right?
Yeah. And it works. It's funny.
And it works out.
It totally works out. Yeah.
So, do you have any big plans, goals this year? Anything exciting you're looking forward to specifically? Or in the next however many years?
I know, right? I am very excited to start combining some of the stuff that I learned teaching a little bit more. The visibility from the coloring book and the murals and stuff has helped me connect with people. And from being a teacher for so long, I have some skill sets that other artists don't, as far as and sharing my work with kids and with audiences. So I'm doing stuff with local schools this year, which is pretty exciting.
Nice.
And I'm excited about that. And I'm also kind of hoping that maybe I can figure out a way to partner with a publisher so that I could do more comic books in a way that's a little bit more sustainable.
Yeah.
Because self-publishing is a lot of work.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I don't know. My spidey sense says that maybe that's not going to happen, and that's okay. You know?
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah.
Well, that's good to have that kind of outlook on it.
Yeah, that kind of outlook, outlook has helped me a lot to just roll with what comes.
Yeah, that's super important.
Yeah.
'Cause nothing ever comes easy if you just don't roll with it. You know? Everything's always such a challenge if you're one way thinking and one way. You got to look at every angle.
Oh my gosh. When I was 25, I ran into an email called Notes from the Universe. Have you heard of this?
No, it sounds familiar, but
yeah. It really helped me frame my perspective on that, because every day you get a little 2-sentence email that's supposed to be from the universe.
Crazy.
But it's about the idea of you just figure out what you want and let me figure out how it's going to happen. And, it always reframes my perspective that there's an external energy that's trying to help if I don't get in the way.
Yeah. I always think that there's that too.
Yeah.
That always kind of, whenever I'm having a tough time making a bigger decision, and I don't know, I always think of so how is, kind of sounds really cheesy, but how is the universe kind of put me in a situation, and what is that saying about the decision I need to make?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how much truth is in that, but it's nice to think.
And I think because it works, it's good, even if it's not something you can prove or whatever. Yeah.
That's cool. So, if you could use your art to change the world in one way, what would it be? Topher came up with that question. That's a good one.
That's a good one, but it's so intense.
I know.
Oh man. Well, it's funny that you're asking that question, because, and my mom teases me about this, because when I was a little girl, I used to tell her, I'm going to change the world.
That's awesome.
Isn't it? Well, and it's weird for a 7-year-old to say that. It is awesome.
Yeah.
But I remember my mom being okay, yeah, you will. And but she had no idea what to do with that, I think, and I don't know if I did either. And I've always kind of felt like I wanted to, but I don't necessarily know.
Yeah. But the fact that you tell yourself, I will change the world.
Yeah.
That says something about yourself right there.
Yeah. I just have a really crazy perspective on a lot of things that I wish I could share more often. And so maybe finding a platform to do that will be cool. But on a more on a more micro scale, at the studio tour last weekend, a guy came up and was checking out some drawings, and one of them was of the Pennybacker Bridge. and it made him cry.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, and it was just because he had some memories there that he wasn't comfortable sharing, but he said, your drawing is so beautiful, and it just like instantly makes me choke up. And I think that's kind of what every artist hopes for, like to connect people with deeper parts of themselves.
Yeah.
And my work is so accessible that sometimes I think I forget that it still does that for people. That no, my work's not going to be in the Guggenheim or something in New York.
Don't know.
You never know. It could be. But it's nice to still like be that for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's what the most successful art is, and like that's what every artist strives to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah.
This
I
is
think
great.
that's all the questions I have.
Thank you for sitting with me. This was great.
This was.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us come and ask you questions.